in the water.
If everybody can go on mute, I'll read translation and purport, and then I'll also go in another words because it's very small. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambrisha, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. So I'll also read, we'll just read three times, we'll not repeat individually, but repeat three times and then we'll read this and then we'll discuss. Tasmadyasya mahabaho
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणि
इन्द्रियाणि
इंद्रियाणेन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो
तस्माद्यस्य
तस्माद्यस्य
महाबाहो
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
निगृहीतानि
निगृहीतानि
सर्वशः
सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
इन्द्रियाणि
इंद्रियाणेन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
तस्मात् यज्ञ महाबाहो
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणि
इंद्रियाणेन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
I'll just read this in translation and purport. Tasmat, therefore, yasya whose, Mahabaho, O mighty armed one, Nigritani, so curbed down, Sarvasha all around, Indriyani the senses, Indriyarte bhe from the sense object, Tasya his pragya intelligent, Patishtaha fixed. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their object is certainly of steady intelligence. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One can curb the force of sense gratification only by means of Krishna consciousness or engaging all the senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As enemy are curbed by superior force, the senses can similarly be curbed not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called a sadhaka or a suitable candidate for a liberation. So these two verses today we are going to discuss. Now the 67 verse, let me just go back to that. So what does 67 verse translation says? Even, we have all these senses, right? So even one of the senses, even if it's roaming, it's not fixed in, if we are unable to control our senses, just one of the sense will doom ourselves, it will cause a fall down of the living entity, because it can carry away the intelligence of an intelligent man also who is trying to control the senses. So we will discuss this verse now. So what happens, right? The senses are very strong, and we have heard the story of. I'll just start with the story. We have heard the story of Saubari Muni, right? So Saubari Muni, thinking that he will go underwater and he will do the meditation or the austerity. But what happens with him is he went under the water to do severe penances and trying to control his senses. But it has been mentioned that even if we go to the forest, if we are at home, or if we go to any place of the world, or even underwater, as as evident by the example of Saubari Muni's fall down, we will definitely fall down if we have if we have not controlled our mind, right? So Sabri Muni here was trying to meditate. What happened? He just he saw what he saw. He saw the two fish union, and with the seeing the fish union, he get united, with the opposite gender. So what he did was he left all his meditation, what he was doing from so long, and he came out of the water, and then he went to King Mandhata, and there he had I think 50 daughters, yes, 50 daughters, and there he asked, he married all of the daughter. And why he married all of the daughter? Actually, when he went and he asked King Mandhata, will be wrinkle and all those things, right? So Sabri Muni's body was not very, very good looking. And Mandhata king said, okay, they are my daughter, they are self-sufficient to choose their own bridegroom. So why don't you ask which daughter want to marry? But none of the daughter want to marry him because he was not handsome looking or good looking, right? So then what did Sabri Muni did was he changed his, because he was a mystic yogi, so he changed his complete form and he came as a handsome, beautiful, like a young man. And then all these daughter, they started fighting with each other that I want to marry him, I want to marry him. So all the daughter got married. But this was his fall down, because he was just by what was the senses, he got a fall down just by eyes, right? He just saw with his eyes. So similar incidents we know in Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, when Ajami's story comes. He was a very nice cultured Brahmana, but he also got fall down when he saw the Shudrani, and Shudra has engaged in sense gratification. So he just by one of the senses, right? He was going for some of the service, right? His father has assigned to him. So I'm not going to go into the story detail, but this is just few examples where we see that these senses, even though like Ajamil was also a cultured Brahmana, and this Sabri Muni, we know he was a very big yogi. Even he got fall down. And we also know about the story of Vishwamitra. What happened in the case of Vishwamitra? Menika, right? When he was performing the austerity, Menika came and she just started dancing. He didn't even see. He just hearing, right? Just hearing the ankle bell of Menika, he just engaged in sense gratification with her, and then this was his fall down also. So these senses, even these yogis, what to talk about ourselves, these yogis are so big, then also they are getting captured by these senses, because Maya, the illusion energy of the Lord, is very strong, right? So there are from our acharyas also, there are certain examples given, right? We have discussed some examples from the Shastras, and others are like particular sense, whatever particular sense we have, even in animals, these senses are there, and there are examples how these different animals get captured by one of these senses, or how that sense, just the one sense of that animal, will cause destruction for that particular animal. So we'll first talk about the eyes, right? Eyes is a sense of sight, we see from the eyes. So everybody know the moth, right? That moth is there, and moth, even though very little lifespan, but this moth is very much attracted to the fire or the light. So this moth is so foolish that due to his senses being in contact with that fire, like not in contact, just seeing that fire, he's so attracted that he the moth doesn't know that if he go or if he pass through the fire, then it gonna create his fall down, or he'll get the destruction, destruction will be there. So he just rushed towards the fire, and what happens? He just burn, right? So it's destruction. He's creating his own destruction through the sense gratification. So first we'll discuss this example, and then we'll hear what happens in our case also. So we discuss the eyes, sense of sight, called the destruction of this moth, right? And then this deer. So deer animal is very hearing, right? He get captured through the hearing. So what happens? Hunter knows that this deer likes a very nice music. So what he do? He plays a night flute, or he plays a nice instrument to attract this deer to come near to him, right? Otherwise he'll not go, and hunter will not be able to kill or whatever captured him easily, right? But he plays this flute And when he plays this flute, then this deer, he runs behind wherever the music, because wherever the music is coming, is run behind to that music. And then this hunter, it close, hunter will be definitely hiding, and it goes close to the hunter, and that way hunter is able to kill this deer. This foolish deer also get captured through his hearing sense, right? And similarly, in the case of fish, what happened, how the fish get captured? We all know fish get captured by the sense of taste, the tongue, the uncontrollable tongue. How? Because in that fishing rod, when people do the, or the, people do the fishing, right? They want to grab the fish, right? If the fish is coming out, then fish is not going to live, right? It's a destruction of the fish. So because of the uncontrollable tongue, so some small food will be there. So fish food is worm, right? So some small food will be there, hanged in that hook of the fishing rod. And this fish is so foolish that it's think, oh, this is something, definitely it's something to eat. But the fish does not understand that when I'm running behind that particular thing, it's going to, cause a fish fall down, or cause a fish to just give up his life, his or her life. So the fish goes, and then this hunter, he captured and pulled the fish out. So we see the three senses: eyes, mouth, and deer hearing. By the hearing sense, he get captured, and fish get captured by the uncontrollable tongue, or the sense of taste. Hmm? Similarly, in case of musk deer, so musk deer is the kasturi milk. What happened in this case is, there is very nice, very intoxicated smell comes, chemical comes out of the body of this musk deer. And its smell is very fragrance, and it's so intoxicated that this deer, musk deer, will be thinking, oh, where will I should go definitely near to that. This smell is coming, right? This smell is coming so nice, so intoxicating. So it runs, trying to find that where is that smell is. And this foolish animal doesn't know that the smell is coming out of his own body, that out of the chemical that is produced from his own body. So it's run, trying to capture that, and he get exhausted, and out of exhaustion, it dies. That happens with the musk deer. So sense of smell. Also, so nose, right? So we saw eyes, we saw ear, we saw tongue, we saw nose. And then the last but not the least is the sense of touch, right? Senses contact with the sense objects. So does anybody know who get captured by the sense of touch? Which animal?
Elephant.
Yeah, Mataji is right. Elephant get captured. So what happened in the elephant cases? He elephant, elephant is so big, right? It has been said that elephant baby, just a baby, the baby born of the elephant is 200 pounds. So you think about how tons of elephant will be. So very difficult to capture this heavy elephant. But how he get captured? He get captured by the sense of touch. So what this hunter will do? He will dig a big hole in one of the place, very big hole, and then he'll cover that hole with the grass, green grass, right? And he'll keep the she elephant behind that hole. So he has created a hole behind that. He'll keep a she elephant. So this elephant, she elephant, he'll be very much he see the she elephant, and he'll be very much want to associate with this she elephant. And then as soon as he run towards the she elephant, but before that there is a big hole, and then he just go in this hole, and then that's how this big, even this very big elephant get captured. So this is how this one of the senses, if not controlled, this creates a destruction. So in our case also, if my tongue says I want to eat something very nice, very palatable, so I just run behind to so many restaurants, right? I'll just go here and there, and if I want to see, usually people think that this movies is very nice, so they want to see some things, right? So they just go to the cinema also. These our senses are dragging us, right? Hearing or seeing anything, or even sense gratification, people go to so many clubs and all those things. So these these things is very these senses are very difficult to control, and these, even if one of the senses we are not able to control, definitely it will cause the fall down for us. So what it has been mentioned in the verse is, Prabhupada says clearly that all of the senses should be engaged in the service of Krishna. So can anybody tell me what we have read in the 67 verse, which example has been given, who has engaged the senses in the service of the Lord, all the senses? Does anybody
Ambarish
remember?
Maharaj.
Yeah, Mataji. So Ambarish Maharaj. So we will just, I think everybody knows the story of Ambarish Maharaj. It comes in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very wonderful devotee of the Lord, and he was able to control, even he was not able to control, he was able to engage all of the senses, and thus the senses get automatically controlled. So Prabhupada says, if we don't engage in Krishna consciousness, so if we don't have higher taste, right? So let's give example. So if there is a khichdi, or if there is a shahi paneer, so how many people do you think is going to prefer khichdi unless they are sick, right? All the people will be going to go with the paneer and naan. So the similar higher taste, if we engage our senses in higher taste comes from serving Krishna, because what we have, I mean, 1,000 or 1 lakh time we have heard, we are Jivera Swarupai Krishna and Nitya Das, right? This is a very small statement, but how much difficult to apply in our life. We are the servant of Krishna, and that is our the constitutional position. So that's how, if we engage our senses in the service of Krishna, then we get more happiness, right? So we get more happiness, but it's very difficult to understand, right? How, if I'm engaging in service of Krishna, I get, what about my happiness of eating anything or looking anything, right? So but we all know, there's devotees, as a devotees we are, if we engage in the service of Krishna, we definitely get the higher taste. So by the higher taste, these lower tastes get automatically go out, especially the taste of sense gratification. So I'll just read out. Savai mana Krishna padaravindur vasham shive kunta gunanu varnane karo harir mandir marjanadishu shrutim chakrachita sat kathodaya. So what does this verse says? This comes in 9th canto, sets of 9th canto, 4th chapter, 18th verse. So here it has been mentioned that Maharaj Amrish, he engaged all of the senses. So how? The first is mana. Mana means his mind. Now, how he has engaged his mind? He is always meditating in the on the lotus feet of the Lord. So upon the lotus feet of the Lord, he is always meditating. So that's how he is engaging his mind in the service of the Lord. But if we are always thinking of Krishna, then there is no point of thinking anything lower. So that's how he is controlling his mind, even not controlling, he's engaging. So he's not even thinking of anything lower than that, right? So Vashamshi Gvekunta Gunanu Varnane means he is glorifying the Lord. He's describing the glories of the Lord. So that's a gunanu. Guna means the qualities or the description of the glories of the Lord. So he's describing the glories of the Lord. That's how he's engaging his tongue, right? And his words in the service of the Lord. And how he's engaging his hand in Karo Hare Mardina Mandir Marjanadishu. So he is cleaning the temple of the Lord. Once when he's cleaning the temple of the Lord with his hand very nicely, even he's a very big king. Even though he's a big king, he's engaged in just menial service of the cleaning, right? Cleaning we consider as a menial service. So he is cleaning the temple of the Lord. That's how he's engaging his hand in the service of the Lord. And Shrutim Chakrachita Sat Kathadeo. So how he's engaging his ears? He's hearing, right? He's hearing the word. Either Krishna spoke those words, or is by Krishna, or it's about Krishna. So that's how he's engaging his senses, mind, words, hearing, hand, these senses. So how he's engaging his eyes? We'll see. Mukunda lingaya darshano darsho tat brita garta sparshe anga sangamam grahanam chatat pada soroja sorbe Shima Tulasaya Rasnam Tadarpite. So how is engaging the other senses? he is engaging his eyes in seeing the deity of the Lord. We want to see everybody wants to see very, very nice thing. But you see, if you want to engage your senses in the higher taste for the higher consciousness, then you see the deities of the Lord. How beautifully always the deities or the pujari in the temple, they decorate the Lord very, very beautifully. So that's how we should engage in the we should engage our eyesight or seeing the deity of the Lord. And Amrish Maharaj is already doing, and it has been mentioned here. And what else he's doing? He is engaging his sense of touch, right? His sense of touch, not in the sense gratification, but to touching the body of the Lord. So touching the body of the Lord means he's maybe if a spiritual master is there or the senior devotees are there, he's giving some seva to them, right? The vapu seva to them. So that's how he's engaging his sense of touch. And how he's engaging his nose? His nose is engaging by smelling the fragrance of the tulsi. How? The tulsi that is offered to the Lord. So if you or the flower, in the temple, how Prabhupada has engaged all our senses. When we go to the temple, we get this flower after the Narsingha Aarti. We can smell that flower has been already offered to the Lord. So that's how he's engaging his sense. And even his tongue also he's engaging in the prasadam that is offered to the Lord. So he's only eating the Lord's remnant. It's very, very important. If we want to progress in the spiritual life, first of all, we should commit to ourselves that we are not going to eat anything that is not offered to the Lord. So that is first commitment we should make to ourselves. So that's how, when the tongue is controlled, and Prabhupada says the belly and the genital in the one line, tongue is controlled, belly is controlled, and then another things are already controlled. So now another thing, pado harishetra padanusparshane shiro rishikesha padha bivandane kamam chadase natu kama kamyamya yato uttama shloka janashrayarati. So what this word says is, he engages legs. So how he engages legs? We all got the legs. But if we using our legs going here and there, wasting our time, not using our time in the service of the Lord, then we are wasting, right? So leg he is using going to the dham, right? Going to the holy places. And temple is also the dham of the Lord. So going to the temple of the Lord. And how he's engaging his head? He is going down to the Lord. That's how he is engaging his head, always in the service of the Lord. And he's all his desire, how we become the pure devotee of the Lord. So he is a pure devotee of the Lord. When all our desires are merged, not we are merging, all our desires are one with the Lord. When we are always serving the Lord, like Prabhupada or all these great devotees of the Lord. So 24/7, they are serving the Lord. So here it is mentioned, indeed Amrish Maharaj never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service and various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase the attachment. So when we do these different activities, engaging our eyes, our ear, our nose, our hand, our leg, all these senses together, when we use in the service of the Lord, then even if we don't have the taste, then eventually the taste will come. So then eventually we will be able to increase our attachment to the Lord. So this is what I think has been discussed in these two verses. Let me see if there is anything else in the purport. Yeah, so I think the same things. And we can, Prabhupada also says that we can curb only by means of Krishna consciousness. There is no other way. So one thing, right? Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur, when this lady, I think Ramchandra Khan, right? It was Ramchandra Khan who sent this lady to cause a downfall of the Haridas because he was so envious of Haridas. But when she went in the middle of the night, she came one day, and then Haridas told. We all know the story, but it's nice to hear always these pastime. So she went and she sat outside, like in the door, and then Haridas Thakur said that I am chanting my round. You sit there, I'll fulfill your desire. or whatever you want, I listen once I'll done with my chanting. Haridas used to chant number 92 round. So this prostitute, she sat at the door, and she was hearing the chanting of Haridas Thakur. One day happened, it morning came, Haridas did not associate, and she went. And then second day she came, she said, oh Haridas, you said, oh Mahashaya, oh Thakur, you said the same thing. Today also is saying the same thing. He said, no, you don't worry. I will fulfill your desire. You just sit there and you just listen to my chanting, and like that. And he continued his rounds. And second day, third day, when it happened, this lady, she got so much change because she was hearing from the pure devotee mouth. She said, oh Haridas, I want to tell you, oh, Mahashaya, I want to tell you that I came to cause your fall down, because if you associate with me, then I can tell that you are not a devotee, you are just posing as a devotee. So then Ramchandra Khan has sent me. So then Haida said, I knew it earlier. So devotees of the Lord, they're so merciful that even though they know that this lady has came to do my downfall, but Haida said, if I would have, so she said, why didn't you go out of this hut? He said, I didn't go, then who will give you the Krishna consciousness? And then this lady got so much transformed that it has been mentioned that Haridas left from there. She got initiation from Haridas. She was chanting, and everything, whatever she got from his earlier thing, she got whatever wealth, she has distributed to all the Brahmanas. And then she just came, she sat there and she just did Tulsi Puja and Harinam, and she just got delivered. How can you 16 rounds chanting, how difficult it is for us? Then she was chanting 192 round due to the mercy of the Lord. So how Haridas was not able, how Haridas was not able to captured by this lady or a prostitute, because he was able to curb, he was able to curb, or he was engaging in his senses. So as Prabhupada is saying that we can curb only by Krishna consciousness. So Harinam is very, very powerful, right? So as the other cases we see, Vishwamitra, he was already engaged, and then Sabri Muni. So but here is example of Haridas Thakur, who was able to control. So if anybody has any questions, comment, or any corrections, please feel free to do so. We have discussed these both two verses. We may discuss another one depending upon how much time we have. Okay, if not, then I will just quickly share the next verse and we can cover this verse as well. Let me know once you are able to see. Able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll you can repeat after me. Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam
Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam
Tasyam Jagrati Samyami
Tasyam Jagrati Samyami
Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani
Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani
Sa Nisha Pashyato Mune
Tanisha
Pashyato
Pashyato
Mune.
Mune
Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam
Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam
Tasyam Jagrati Samyami
Tasyam Jagrati Samyami
Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani
Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani
Sa Nisha Pashyato Mune
Tanisha Pashyato Mune
Yanisha Sarvabhutana
Ya Nisha
Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam
Tasyam Jagrati Samyami
Tasyam
Jagrati
Jagrati Samyami
Samyami
Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani
Yasyam Jagrati
Jagrati
Bhutani
Bhutani
Sanisha Pashyato Muni
Sa
Tanisha
Nisha
Pashyato
Pashyato
Mune
Mune
Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam
यानि च
सर्वभूतानां
यस्यां जागृति संयमी
तस्यां जागृति संयमी
जागृति संयमी
यस्यां जागृति भूतानि
यस्यां जागृति
यस्यां जागृति
भूतानि
भूतानि
सा निशा पश्यतो मुनिः
सा निशा पश्यतो
तानिशा
मुनिः
पश्यतो मुने
ईशा सर्वभूतानां
या
या
निशा
निशा
सर्वभूतानां
सर्वभूतानां
तस्यं जागृति संयमी
तस्यां जागृति संयमी
यस्यां जागृति भूतानि
यस्यां जागृति भूतानि
सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः
सा निशा पश्यतो
मुनिः
जातिशा सर्वभूतानां या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागृति जागृति
संयमी
संयमी
तस्यां
जागृति
संयमी वशां जागृति भूतानि
यस्यां जागृति भूतानि
सा निशा पश्यत मुनः सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः
Okay, so we'll go word by word. Yeah, what?
Yeah,
Nisha is night.
Nisha is
it's
my
not
Sarva all.
Sarva all.
Sarva all.
Bhutanam of living entities.
Bhutanam living entities.
Tasyaham in that.
Tasyam in that
Jagrati is wakeful.
Jagrati is wakeful.
All wakeful.
Samyami the self-controlled.
Samyami the self-controlled.
Yasyam in which.
Yasyam in which
Jagrati are awake.
Jagrati are awake.
Bhutani all beings.
Bhutani all beings.
Taha that is.
Sa that is
Nisha night.
Nisha night.
Pashyata for the introspective.
Pashyata for introspective.
Munehe sage. Translation by purport by Srila Prabhupada. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. There are two classes of intelligent men. One is, can everybody please go on mute? I'm hearing my voice back. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for person materially absorbed. Materialistic person remains asleep in such a night due to their ignorance for self-realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic man. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas the man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distress in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reactions. I mean, some couple of weeks ago, if we remember that Devaki Mataji, right? Her Grace Devaki Mataji has given a very wonderful class on this verse. So we'll just try to learn from this verse, but it has been mentioned. I'm not sure how many of us attended, but I'm not going to repeat her class because I don't completely remember what exactly Mataji has discussed. But what does this basically, this verse means is it's not it's not just the night and day, just as we see the night and day. It's a value system. So value system for a materialistic person is completely totally different, and value system for a spiritual person is completely different. So usually the materialistic person, right, if you tell you chant for 2 hours every day, 16 rounds, this is essential in our movement. This is very very essential. Prabhupada said minimum 16 round you have to chant. If you try to instruct this person who is totally absorbed in materialistic activity, then this person will be thinking, oh, 2 hours I have to spend, I can do so many things in 2 hours, right? I can make money in the 2 hours, or I can do this or that thing. So materialistic person value system is completely different. But what we get, or what the devotees get in chanting the 2 hours, they are uh, slowly or gradually progressing for the spiritual culture, because they are learning that everyday chanting how our life is changing, right? And this person, he doesn't know, like if he's doing so many things to advance in the materialistic life, right? It's a materialistic man, he's doing so many things and advance in materialistic life, but at what he's losing the time, because we have limited time. We have to remind ourselves every day of this, because we are so lax. I am also in one of them. So we are so lax that we think, okay, this things will go, that thing will go. So we'll be so lax in our spiritual practices that if we think we are going to go live so long, so every day we have to remind we have got certain number of years to live in our present body. What about 30, 40 years? Are we gonna be here? Some of, I mean, I'm not talking about the kids, of the adults, all of us, right? Are we gonna hear? No. So where we gonna be? So that because what activity we do in our present body is already is creating our next body. So that's how it happens. It's a field of activity. In 13th chapter also Krishna says, right, it's a field of activity. So whatever karma, whatever activity we do in this life, that's creating our next body. And that definitely transmigration is there. Bhagavad Gita first teaching is we are not this body, we are soul. But how difficult is to realize, right? Saying is easy, but realizing is difficult. But spiritual realization has made easy when we engage all our senses in the service of Krishna. Then gradually what's going to happen is we are going to cut off from this material activity. If you eventually think about your life and you have not come into Krishna consciousness, right? Maybe some of you, maybe 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. So think about yourself, what you were before that, and how your gradually system is changing. So some of the, I think all of the us, we might be going outside, even though we are vegetarian. Some of us may be non-vegetarian. So we are going to the restaurant eating, right? We are not thinking about, oh, it is not offered to Krishna, I should not eat this. Because what's happened, we are increasing our materialistic lifespan. Because when we just talking about just the one sense, the tongue, when we eat outside, then the consciousness of the person is also is there in that made food, and it's not, definitely not has been made, it's just made to create some business from selling that particular dish or whatever, and we are just going and eating like we are not thinking anything. So that's kind of a materialistic way of life. But if gradually if we chant and we realize, okay, this is very nice, this Krishna's consciousness, sa sukham kartum avyam, this practice of devotional service is very nice. So what I was doing this and that. So this is how we understand how we are gradually shifting from the materialistic way of life to the spiritual way of life. But to continue, we have to very much enthusiastic to perform our daily sadhana. Sometimes we are just doing the bare minimum, but for me also it's very nice to instruct ourselves as well, that we should try to increase, if not the quantity, just increase the quality, like the chanting japa, right? Sometimes I'm sure every one of us have an experience. Sometimes our japa will be very wonderful, but sometimes we think, why my japa is not good today? So these things, at least we try to realize that and try to improve on our sadhana or the daily practices or whatever deity service bhoga, whatever we are doing, try to increase. So here it has been mentioned, so value system is different. So in the starting we were going to the restaurant or a materialistic man, now you see in opposite to my house there is a restaurant. So this restaurant, earlier we used to see that there are so many cars, you'll just see it will be full. Parking lot will be full of the car. And then since this COVID started, now it's 1 year, exactly 1 year. It started around this time in March. So March mid, everything was closed. So this restaurant, it slowly got gradually, none of the cars were there. But again, now sometimes back, I think 2 3 months back only, we see people are, whatever will happen, people come to their original thing, whatever they are doing. So all, it's like the same now. It's like the same kind of, it's full. The parking lot is full of the cars. So you're also thinking, whatever happens, these people, because they cannot control their tongue, because they cannot remain aside from not going to the restaurant or not eating outside. But for devotees like us, think about how we have been progressed. If we have been progressed, then we don't even think of going to the restaurant. If we don't have the food, we'll just eat some cornflakes or milk or whatever, but we don't would like to go to this restaurant at all. So how, this is how our value system get changed. So for, it has been mentioned, for the sage or the devotee is trying to practice, the night of the materialistic will be the day. So whatever value system is there is topsy turvy for a spiritualist, because he think he is going to progress in the spiritual life, being a soul. We are soul, we are not this body. So how much enjoyment we can squeeze out of this body? Is this body is not lasting permanently, it's not permanent, and whatever we are doing, just waste of time. That's how the devotee thinks. Either we are engaging in making money, or we are going here and there. We are thinking we are going to the mall, enjoying in the mall, or enjoying in the movie theater. That's all is just a waste. But if you say a devotee, if you say a devotee, okay, I'm going to pay for your complete month movie bill, you come to me. I'm not, how serious is the devotee depend on that. But most of the devotees, they just think, what this foolish thing is, you, even if you pay for 1 year, I'll not at all come to see the movie, like that, because he has got a different taste. That's a day for him, but it's a night, it's completely useless. So that's how we should understand these words. Is the value system of a devotee, value system of a materialistic is different. But sometimes we also in the middle, but we should not fall back to the materialistic way of life. If we are falling back, then we should chant more, or we should think, if my, something is wrong with my sadhana, that's how I am getting this the materialistic desire in my mind. It may happen. We saw the case of what is ourselves, we saw the case of Vishwamitra Muni and Sabri Muni. So that's why we have to balance. We have to do our sadhana very nicely. But if we are getting the materialistic desire, means we are somewhere falling in our spiritual practices. And but there is nobody to check, but we have to check ourselves. So nobody is coming or hanging on our, or bagging on our, or tapping on a shoulder or saying, hey, you're not doing this right. Or we have to check on ourselves, and nobody should judge other person. So we have to judge ourselves, how we are progressing in our spiritual life. So this is what I would like to take a pause and see if anybody wants to add for this words anything, or any question, comments, correction, because we have just 7 minutes left. They can share if they want anything, or add if I forgot anything to add for this words, or the other two verses. So this is what we have discussed today, the three verses. I think till 269 we have discussed so far. That the value system is completely different. That's the thing. That's the key in this verse. Anybody has any comment, questions, realization? We can share.
Hi, it's me. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm gonna say sometimes it's just hard keeping the mind in track and in sync with Krishna, or try keep thinking of Krishna with all the other little things that we have going on, like taking care of the kids, taking care of groceries, doing all the other stuff. But I know it's hard to do that. Is there a simple way?
Yes, Mataji, because we are there, we have to keep our family also in center. But if we are doing at home, right? I mean, these things are necessary to do, but what we can do, right? If we are going for the shopping, but whatever we are getting in our home, it's a grocery shopping or whatever. So we can make the Krishna Prasad. We can make the bhoga, and if we then we are dovetailing, right? Our desire is to eat that and that. This we are getting something. We just come to home. We just made a nice bhoga, and then we just offer to the Lord. So then it get Krishnaized or the spiritualized, so it will have the Krishna potency. So that thing we can do, and I think whatever things are required we should do, but we should also make sure that we are not lagging behind in our sadhana. So that's a priority. So you might have all heard the example of a jar. So in a jar there are two jars. In a jar, I if I put all the water, but if I have 4 or 5 stone, can I put those stone in that jar? Is that possible? Water will come out, right? If we try to put the stone after the water will come out. And if in the jar, if I have placed stones, right, 4 or 5 stones, but I have a glass of water which I put on this jar. So we can do, right? That stone are not going to come out, but the water is slowly taking the space. There will be some space left between the stones, right? That space is going to be utilized by that water. So the priority we have to set in our life. So we have basically, if you ask my point of view, so I will say that we have to give priority to our spiritual life or the sadhana much. So when we give the spiritual life priority, then everything get adjusted accordingly. This is how we are putting the stones. Stones are like our practices, and this all these things will settle down. But if we don't give practice, then it will be all topsy turvy, right? Then we are not practicing spiritual life. Then what we are doing, we might be falling back to the materialistic way of life. Priority we need to set, Mataji. So once we set the priority, then everything goes well. I hope I am able to answer, or anybody wants to add to Jill Mataji's question, they can do so.
Even when you're grocery shopping, you can think like, I'm going to pick this freshest fruit for Krishna, or the freshest vegetable for Krishna. You can think that, I mean,
Yes,
you are buying, in a sense, for your family or for the cooking, but at the same time, you can, even when you're picking something, you can think, I want the best for Krishna. You can think that way.
yes, exactly. We can
And then,
think and we can offer.
yeah, and then of course, when you're cooking, you can think like, let me make this as tasty a meal as possible to offer to Krishna.
Exactly.
And that's why we don't taste it. We think
Yes.
about Krishna to make it nice and clean for him.
Yes, Mataji. So nice and clean, very nicely and cleanly we make. We don't taste definitely, and then that way it's nice.
Yeah, and even when we're cooking, we don't touch anything, so that it's very cleanly done. So when you're taking care of your cooking, that means you're thinking of Krishna. Whereas if you're willy-nilly touching things, that means you're not thinking so much of making it clean for Krishna.
Correct. If we are touching anything here and there, then we have to wash our hand. So actually, I was remembering just one thing, because some people I know have a habit. They just what they make, they just taste, right? From the initial, I didn't have that habit. I was not offering it through my childhood, but I never when I make food, even though I was not all the food we do before coming to ISKCON, before learning this process of offering every day to Krishna. Hardly, I think all of us, but for me, hardly I was not offering, not every day, only on special, on Holi, on Diwali, right? Every day you just offer mishri to the Lord or something like that, or the fruits. So but when I used to make the food, I never ever tasted the food until I make it completely and until I sit down. So that way, that habit of not eating while we make, some lot of the people do that. So that made me very much good when I am making. I should not be restricting at that time. When we have a habit, we just eventually do that. But from initially, I didn't have that habit. So when I was starting offering to Krishna, that's made me.
You had a good habit already. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to break a bad habit. If you're used to tasting, then it's hard to
Yes,
break
and
that
it's hard
habit.
to Krishna. Then you just, because you're making from so long, so just taste. Oh, then you cannot offer. It's all waste because you have tasted. You cannot offer to Krishna. So like that. So we just wanted to share that.
Right. Can I add one point, Mataji?
Very, very sure, Mataji, you can add. Yes, sure, Mataji, you can add.
Yeah, so actually all the big chefs, whoever is watching the recipes on the YouTube or on the TV or anywhere, they will tell you to taste it first.
Yeah, exactly. You're
To
breaking.
check if there is
You break.
salt, enough salt or not,
Yes.
or if you have to add more salt or not. So that is
Yeah.
how when you do your mother, you will get these things. If you do, I won't taste it anyways, because
That's probably
Yeah.
another reason why not to eat outside.
Yes, exactly. Not to eat outside. Definitely, that's definitely a no-no if we want to progress in the spiritual life. And how can we eat? It's not offered to Krishna, right? But we get that. Eventually, if we are not there, we should not think ourselves low. We should keep practicing our spiritual life, and eventually, we'll get to that point. So, not thinking or not minimizing anyone's effort, but whatever we are doing is good. But try to increase a little bit and try to a little bit restrain. Then we'll be good. Then you itself not going, because it's a very nice taste in Krishna Prasadam, right? It tastes a way better than whatever food outside is. So I'm not sure if you heard, but Sevanandani Mataji is saying that because her voice was breaking, so I'll just repeat in one line that if you see some recipe, they will taste the food, and then they'll say that if it is has more salt or not, and if add, check, just taste. They are making, they just taste, and then they say that if you more salt is needed, just add it like that. So
I
that's
was
what
going to say
they
thanks. You did answer my question and
you.
gave me a lot of food for thought to think about and trying to continue my spiritual journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, you can message me too if you have more questions anytime.
Yeah, you know,
Thank
one
you.
of these days I'm going to be going over there anyway. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So if no comment, we can switch. But if anybody wants to share, we can take for 1 minute. But if no, then we are already at 1. We can. Thank you everyone for listening to me patiently. So we'll offer our Vaishnav Pranam. I don't think anybody has anything to share. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभय एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः हरे कृष्णा
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna,
कृष्णा
Krishna
हरे
Krishna,
हरे
Hare Hare,
हरे राम
Hare
राम
Rama, Hare
राम
Rama,
राम
Rama
हरे
Rama,
हरे
Hare Hare.
श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की
Prabhupada
हरे
ki
हरि बोल
jai. Hare Krishna.